Hey, Michael here. Welcome to the Lighthouse of Awesome. Today I'm reviewing the spells in the 10th episode of the Netflix Sabrina. Intense episode. A lot's happening. First, we start off with a few symbols. If a spoon falls, a baby falls, is Hilda's way of implying after Zelda drops a spoon that Lady Backwood is going to give birth. And then there's some symbols of doom that are gone over. A dead bird brought in by a cat. Spilled bottle of black ink. Broken mirror in an empty room. A loaf of bread split down the middle. And a woman knitting her own death shroud. These are all brought out by Lilith. So for the spells, one of the first spells that Sabrina and her family cast is for a tornado to get everyone into the tornado shelter under Baxter High. And to do that, they have each of the four winds in a glass jar, and they each sit on opposite sides of the table. So each corner representing north, south, east, and west, and have a glass bowl of water in the middle over a map. And then they release the winds as follows. Boreas, north wind, I summon you. Urius, east wind, I summon you. Nortos, south wind, I summon you. Zephyrus, west wind, I summon you. And so they release the winds and let the winds do their work. Another spell, or conversation, which is very spell-like between Zelda and Sabrina, is how to heal a broken heart. Sabrina says, "What am I going to do, Aunt Z?" in reference to the whole situation with Harvey, where she's broken up. And Zelda says, "Today you will go to school, and you will talk to your friends, and you will sit in class and answer questions. And then you will go to the academy, and you will come home, and we will eat supper together, and you will fall asleep. And tomorrow you will do the same, and it will hurt a tiny bit less. And then the next day it will hurt even less." And then Sabrina says, "After I put Harvey through everything I put Harvey through, how can I even face him?" And Zelda says, "I'm not sure. I've never been in your shoes." And she gets up to leave and says, "Perhaps you just do as bravely and humbly as you can." And I found this really profound because Zelda is telling Sabrina, just go through the motions and time will start to heal your situation. And there are some pretty hard-hitting spells in the episode as well. Lilith summons a demonic horde. She makes a virgin sacrifice and says, "I call out to the Greendale 13, to the witches hunted by mortals." So she's saying, she's naming the horde and she's describing it. Betrayed by their own kind, further description. Hung from this tree by their necks. So she's actually going to the location where she believes the spirits to be most powerful. "Arise, sisters, arise." And so this is the start of this summing. And then the ghoul says, "Where are we?" Lilith says, "Greendale and the witching hour is upon us. Tonight and tomorrow, for 1 hour, from midnight to 1, you may walk the earth again to claim your revenge. Go forth, sisters. Take to the sleeping streets. Reacquaint yourselves with the town you'd so despise. And then summon the butcher who will end Greendale once and for all." And so Lilith is giving them a very limited amount of time to wreak havoc, and arguably exactly enough so that Miss Wardwell, Lilith, can encourage Sabrina to accept the Dark Lord as her Lord and Savior. Now, from the BFG, from Roald Dahl, he describes the witching hour as such. The witching hour, somebody has once whispered to her, was a special moment in the middle of the night when every child and every grown-up was in a deep sleep, and all the dark things came out of hiding and had the world to themselves. So the witching hour in Sabrina is a bit more precise. It's exactly midnight. It's not. The BFG, if I remember, is closer to like 3 a.m. I'm not sure why I'm thinking that. I wasn't able to find that in the text. Might be another children's story that I remember. But Sabrina's witching hour is much more confrontational than what we would usually think about as a witching hour. And so then the demonic horde, the Greendale 13, summons the Red Rider, which is interesting for me because the Red Rider is, I thought, supposed to be like Ares or the god of war, the angel of war, but they're calling this the Red Angel of Death or the Crimson Avenger. Now, Death himself rides a pale horse, and they're saying he's riding a white horse, which is not, which I believe is Pestilence. I'm a little rusty on that. But a very interesting summoning. Wasn't able to pin down the exact entity they're summoning. A little bit of the angel that goes over the Egyptians and kills all the firstborn, which is really unfortunate if they're putting everybody in the basement, because the modern science on that sort of plague seems to indicate that there's a volcanic belch or something out of a lake or a river, the Nile, in the Jewish plague sense. Or in modern terms, this happened in a couple lakes in Africa. And it basically pushes up like carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, and kills everything within a certain range of the ground, 2-3 feet or so. And the reason why all the firstborn died in Egypt was because there was a tradition that all the firstborn would sleep at the foot of their parents' bed. So they were really low to the ground, and when the gas came up, all the firstborn happened to die, and everyone else who was higher up survived. So they summoned the Red Rider, the Greendale 13. Omnium unforum soribus complete corpus angelum. It's very faint in the show. It says, the marketplaces of all, in the body of the angel, it completes the spirit. So they're summoning the Crimson Avenger to basically ravage the markets and attack everyone. And then there is a standoff between the Greendale 13 and the witches. So apparently the Greendale 13 have to go and open all the doors so the Crimson Avenger can go inside. And there's a protection spell that witches are using. Qui effecto protecto mesquita erbusta serpentus epaspiros me turpicu. Those who are protecting a mixture of snakes or any of my stalker family. So they're just threatening Greendale 13 with snakes if they open the doors. And then Hilda says to her boyfriend, hear me, run away, live to see another day, and then screams run because she doesn't want him harmed, and he runs away. And for the final summation of Hellfire, which is really interesting because the lead lich of the Greendale 13 says only basically 3 witches can summon Hellfire. One of which is clearly standing behind Sabrina, so it makes it really vague if she actually does or not. But in theory, based on what we see in the subsequent seasons, she should be able to. And so to summon the Hellfire, Sabrina says, I am Sabrina Spellman, daughter of Edward Spellman, child of night. I call forth fire from the pits. And she's very animated about it, and the fire starts pretty early, so very well could be Miss Wardwell just kind of like lighting them up in the background. And the spell she uses after that is Alter Ignis Fuscum tel evico un paternum tuum monstreus cupidus flamis hic venem calio sum isto harc abdum consumo luteum limbasque tuus monstra ictuum tuum evico on dedorum honic arborum ac omnes hospitas davaros, which essentially is black fire whose smoke is volvus, which is a super weird word, but it basically means red, yellowish, or tawny, and there's an actual hash number for it, so it's just like basically the color of sulfur, I guess. You and I summon. So I summon you to show your power. Hot flames come here, under the sky, consume that tree, the tree where the 13 were hanged. Reveal your light and darkness. I evoke the onslaught of you, devouring the tree and all its guests. And so that's, drop my pen. That is the final of everything. And the other interesting thing I found was a GE commercial, which has Catch the Wind by Donovan in it. When I was researching how would you capture the four winds, and basically you just go to a representative point of where the wind is and open a jar and put it in. But if you want to look up the song Catch the Wind by Donovan, really beautiful. I was kind of trying to assign north, south, east, and west to the verses. It wasn't super clear cut, but it would be, if you're harvesting the wind, it's probably a great song to sing while you're doing so.